Welcome back to another episode of Sports Science Saturday. It's not Saturday when I'm recording this. It's actually Friday of election week 2020 in the United States. My hair is showing you how I'm doing, as is my sweatshirt. Let's talk about how to train in quarantine and lockdown in small spaces. 2 ways to make your training more difficult, but also to help you improve.
Oh my god, do 8 million burpees and you'll be good to go.
No, let's talk about how to get strong and stay fast. Now, there's 2 parts of our training that we can change in order to make it more difficult, even if you're just working with body weight or minimal weight, or if you have a barbell you want to put on your back, kettlebell you want to hold. But there's 2 phases of muscle contraction that we want to address where we can tweak our speed in order to make it more difficult and to change the stimulus that we're getting in order to get a different adaptation. That is the negative phase and the positive phase, also the going up, the going down, the muscle lengthening and the muscle contracting. And that is the eccentric phase where the muscle lengthens and the concentric phase where the muscle shortens. So think about it like eccentric is long, concentric, it comes together. In the eccentric phase, we use that a lot in deceleration. So think about when you're going down a hill, going to stop from sprinting. An Olympic lift, when you're Olympic lifting, boom, and you catch at the bottom. That's the eccentric phase. That's your deceleration phase. And when we train this phase, the muscle actually absorbs more energy. So what we're going to do is slow it down. We're going to make this harder by slowing it down. So not 1 second, not 2 seconds. Count out 3 seconds, 3 seconds on the way down, and then normal on the way back up. 3 seconds on the way down, normal on the way back up. Eccentric training has a great way of making you feel sore by the increased force, the increased energy, and the decreased tempo. Start with 3 seconds and count out a whole 3 seconds, not 1 1/4 second that you claimed was 3 seconds. No, an actual non-cheating 3 seconds. Then you can work your way up to 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever you want to do. It doesn't need to be a 15-second repetition. In push-up position, all right, I'm going eccentric, and on the way down, I'm going to take 3 seconds, and then I'm going to push normally back up. Or in a pull-up position, I'm going to pull up and then do the negative 3 seconds down, and then release, reset. If it's too hard for you to push back that concentric part of the muscle action or the lengthening part of the muscle contraction, you can just easily reset. So if you're in a push-up, just get back on your knees, push back up, and then start again slowly on the way down. If you're doing it in a pull-up position, just climb up on the box and reset up there. If it's too difficult, we don't necessarily need that concentric phase. You can always reset. Eccentric training is a great way in order to increase strength, to increase force, and again, then the muscle is also absorbing energy. Never fear, once you've started eccentric training, you're probably gonna feel sore afterwards because again, we're taking a long time to get into this muscle contraction phase. So the actin and myosin in that myofilament in the muscle, in the sarcomere of the muscle, to get a little sciencey here, are literally, we're holding it while it's trying to come apart. We're literally taking our time pulling it apart. So you might feel muscle soreness tomorrow. It might be a little bit sore. The second phase is the concentric phase. And in order to make this more difficult, let's make it explosive. So oftentimes when we have just body weight, if you've got your setup, that's great. But if you don't have a big setup, or if you're just trying to find a way to get faster or get a new stimulus in your training, one way to do this is to take off the weight and make it explosive. So less weight, and instead of, we're gonna go down normally, and instead of standing up normally, we're gonna explode up or explode into a jump. This could be plyometric training, for example. Could be any form of jumps, tosses, throws, even like a jump squat. You're not gonna do a jump squat with your 1 rep max, so drop the weights way down. You might find yourself anywhere from 30% to 65%, depending on how explosive you were trying to make the session. But you can adjust how difficult it is by, again, adding in this explosive element when standing up. Yes, if that's a squat, you're going to stand up faster or you're going to jump. In this form of training, again, we're trying to maximize the contraction phase. So not the lengthening like the eccentric, but the contraction, the concentric. If this was the eccentric bicep curl or the eccentric pull-up, now I'm down here. The concentric version is I'm gonna pull up as fast as I can, go down normally again, and then speed up my pull, right? Because I'm working on the contraction of that muscle explosively. So you can do this with weights or you can do it without weights. What it's most commonly called without weights is plyometric training. It's any form of jumps, tosses, throws. Important to note, when you're doing concentric and eccentric training, you're probably not going to do 15 repetitions. Especially with concentric training, especially because it's speed training, we're working on elasticity, you're going to do a lot less reps. Drop the weight, lower the repetitions down. It's going to be harder. You might be sore afterwards, but it's definitely a new stimulus. So in order to maximize your explosive training or your concentric training, you can play with repetitions and weight as well. You can also do that in eccentric training, playing with the time and the weight and the repetitions as well. Try out eccentric and concentric training, not at the same time, separately. Decide whether you want to work on the strength portion of eccentrics, the deceleration portion of eccentrics, or the explosivity of concentric training. I'm excited to hear what you guys think.